Hi Robert, so this is just a quick tutorial video on how to access your website and how to make some changes. So first of all, I've sent you an email, and on that email is a link and a username and a password. So if you click on the link, pop in the username and the password. The username will need to be in capitals, just so you know. Then if you click sign me in, that will then bring you to this screen here. You can ignore everything on this screen. The only thing you want to do is on the left-hand side here, you click websites. Once you click on that, you'll see your website will appear in here. At the moment it's blank because I've only just set this up. But basically you click on this box just where the website name is, just above that, click. Then same here, you'll get the preview of the site, but just scroll down below that and you'll see here you have edit websites. So click on that. Once you do that, my software will load, which is called Bramble. The editor loads and it loads with the home page to start with. So there's a couple of things to point out before we go any further. You'll notice, and I'm not going to click anywhere near this, but just where it says index, there's a little trash can. Don't ever click that trash can because there's no undo button. So if you accidentally delete an entire page, I have to start reverting to site backups, and it's quite a lot of work to put it back. So basically a really good tip is never at the top, never click on the trash can button. That will cause you some problems if you do, so stay away from that. The other thing that a lot of people make a mistake with is they go and start renaming all the pages on their website. And again, that breaks the sitemap, it changes all the SEO, it messes about with your Google rankings, it causes quite a lot of problems. So the two big tips I've got for you, the two mistakes that people make are they click the trash can, which just deletes a page and it's not recoverable, and they rename their site pages, which causes all sorts of problems. So as long as you don't do those two things, you can pretty much play around and change other things as you wish. Just avoid those two things. I will cover in a minute as well. You can have a experiment and a play around with the site editor, and as long as you don't publish the changes at the top with this green button, then basically the site remains as it was and you won't do any damage at all. So that's quite a good tip. If you've done something and you're not quite sure it's right, or you've got in a bit of a muddle, just don't publish the changes and leave. Then when you sign back in, it will ask you, do you want to discard the changes? Always click yes. Discard the auto save changes, and then the site will remain exactly as it was. If that doesn't make sense, watch this video back, and when you start using the editor, hopefully that will make a bit more sense to you. Basically, if you make a mistake, it will auto save. If you then sign back in and tell it, yes, I want to use the auto save, then that mistake stays. So if you ever get a message saying, would you like to keep the auto save, just click discard, and then you basically know you're always putting the site back to how it was. So going back to the site itself, it will load initially with the home page. You can ignore any symbols or anything that's repeated or doesn't look quite right. There's different elements of the site that are turned on and off for phones and for tablets and for the desktop version. So don't worry if you've got repeated images, for example, the slider and repeated text bars, just completely ignore that. You scroll past, and then every element that you click, you get a highlight in green, like the green box here for the text. You can then edit the text with inside that, much like you would edit a Word document. Another tip actually is don't play around too much with the font sizes, because again, if you start making the sizes and fonts bigger, then on tablets and phones, they might not look very good. Whereas at the moment, everything's optimized across all devices, it works perfectly. So yeah, again, I wouldn't increase the text sizes too much, but you could go in now and edit as much of the text as you want to. Every element you scroll down, you're clicking a box. Images, you can change images. You just have to bear in mind if there's two images next to each other, then the two you upload will need to be the same size. Otherwise, one's going to sit next to the other one. One will be taller than the other, and you'll start getting imbalances. So fine for you to upload images, but you will need to make sure they're the right height if they're going to sit next to each other. So basically, it's really straightforward. Everything's very simple. If you hover over things, it's telling you what it's going to do. So if you hover over this area, you've got duplicate. If you hover over this area, you have remove. Everything's pretty intuitive. If you've ever used a site editor, it's probably even easier than ones you've used in the past. So yeah, that's sort of an initial how to get you in and how to get you access. I'm now going to explain to you if I've accidentally deleted something I didn't mean to. I've got an undo button at the top here, so I can undo it. But if I've got in a bit of a muddle and I'm not sure what I've done now, then basically at the top here, you exit and you leave. And basically, I didn't click publish then, so the site is completely safe and everything is as it was. So that's just a good tip. So you know that you can always get out of trouble if you've caused any problems. So to navigate through the other pages, you can click up here and you'll see everything's named fairly straightforward. Biography, you've got some of the blogs which are in order. I've labelled them with the number, so blog number 1, Travelling Blind, blog number 2, Escape to Singapore, and so on and so on. So it should be fairly straightforward for you to navigate and enter into all these different pages. Index is always your home page. That remains. Don't rename that. Don't change that. The index page is the site home page. It's just called index. That's how they all are set up. And yeah, so that gives you the option to do that. I will just quickly cover a blog. So the biggest tip for blogs is that if you wanted to do your own blog, you would go to the last blog. So in this case, blog number 6. That would load up. And if you wanted to now do blog number 7, rather than create a blank page and try and do all the format yourself, you have a feature up in the top here, which is duplicate this page. So you'd click on that. That's basically going to make a complete copy of this page, keeping all the editing, all the images as they are. And the page name on the right hand side, obviously now it says copy of blog 6 and all the rest of the text. We wouldn't want that. We would call this one blog 7 and whatever the title was. So in this case, I'll just put test page. Again, you can't have spaces, you have to have hyphens. So blog -7-test -page. That's the page name of this test page. You then click the padlock. You'll then see at the top here, it's now changed that page. So we've duplicated blog 6. We're now calling it blog 7. And then you basically publish that and hit OK. That means we've now created a page called blog 7 and then the page name. You'd go in here to the text now and you'd put in your episode 7. You'd change the title to whatever your new title is. You'd swap the photo by clicking change image. You can drag an image across now and then put a new photograph in there. The caption you'd alter to whatever that was. The text, if you've done it in Word, you could just paste it in. So paste in a couple of paragraphs that sit nicely next to this photo and then paste the other text below. So yeah, really straightforward stuff really. Nothing complicated here. The idea being it's easy for you to use. So you'd make your blog number 7. If we were happy with that and we said that's as we wanted it, we would publish the changes and hit OK. And that basically means that blog page is then done. And the final thing to do would be to create a page for that blog in the main blog menu. So you go to the page called blog main. So you can see we've got episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So again, you would duplicate using this feature. You would call this one blog number 7. You would call it whatever the title was. You would change the photo to whatever your photograph was going to be using the upload tool. And the final 2 things is you need to link this box to episode 7. So you click the photograph, you click edit link on the right hand side. You would then choose your new page. So in this case, we did blog test page, so blog 7 test page. You'd hit save. You'd click where it says click here on the button. You click edit link. You'd turn that to blog 7. You'd hit save. I'm not going to publish it, but you then publish that. That then puts that blog 7 live on the main blog page so people can then access it through that. So yeah, Bramble is straightforward. The tips, I'll go over them again briefly. Don't use the trash can. It's not recoverable if you do. Don't play around with fonts too much. If you start making fonts really massive, you're going to have problems on the phones and on the tablets. So that's a really important tip. They're the 2 sort of main things that I'd say don't do. And don't rename any pages, because again that would cause all sorts of problems if you start renaming pages that are already there. Other than that, you can play around. You've got that way, like I showed you, of just exiting and leaving with doing no damage, so you know the site is safe. You now have full admin access to the website. If you get stuck, obviously let me know. I can always get you out of trouble, but effectively only do the things I've covered in this video and then you won't cause any problems and you won't get into any trouble at all. Really simple. You can now make simple text changes. You can add blogs yourself if you want to do that. You still have half an hour of free support from me every month for updating blogs and doing bits that you can't do, maybe some photos you want to add and things that you're not able to do. I can do that as part of your half an hour every month. Yeah, and I think that's pretty much it really. So have a play around. If you get stuck or you need anything else, just give me a shout. Other than that, thanks for watching.